Well, my friends, I mean, what else could we talk about this week? I mean, we already did it on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was. Make sure you check that video out. But The Rock has come back to WWE, as he would say, when you did put a microphone in his hand, and now everybody has gone totally nuts. Now, as always, make sure you let me know your opinions in the comments below. But the big debate, which makes perfect sense, are we going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber, or are we going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Now, right now, we don't know, and nobody knows. But some of the justification for not doing it at Mania is, well, I don't think The Rock is in very good shape anymore, cardiovascular-wise, and therefore, he should not be allowed to step on the WrestleMania stage. Do you ever watch wrestling? Do you know what's going on? Because here is the deal. Yes, of course, we all saw it with our own two eyes. Even after giving Jinder Mahal a spine buster into people's elbow, one Dwayne Johnson was out of breath. Now, listen, as a man that does wrestle too, I don't think we should go too crazy about this. It is super duper hard, pro wrestling, even when you just have to go down to the canvas and get back up again. Now, I'm not saying you're not allowed your opinion unless you've been in a ring, but I am saying just take a step back and think about that. There's a reason people say you've got to be in great cardiovascular shape if you want to be a sports entertainer, because it's damn difficult. And I doubt The Rock has been rolling around a ring, so let's just put that to one side for a second. But even if he doesn't get in the kind of shape which means he could go like Bryan Danielson versus Kurt Angle, that's not what The Rock is about, and that is not what The Rock versus Roman Reigns is going to be about. In fact, if we do bring the head of the table into this, a lot of his matches, I'm not saying this in a good way or a bad way, just an observatory point of view, are quite slow paced, they are quite methodical, and they are basically focused on what the story is going to be. I mean, we saw that in the match with Jey Uso, which wasn't the best one that he did, and maybe they went too far in that direction, but that is his MO. So if you are going to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I don't think they have to put on a 5-star classic, 6.25 stars, in the Tokyo Dome. And in fact, if anything, what you should do is 10 to 12 minutes, make it proper over the top, just do what we did for Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, and everything is going to be fine. And as I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times before, if you go and watch The Rock versus Hulk Hogan with the sound off, it totally loses everything that it is. But you put that sound on, and as many people have said, it is one of the best matches ever. And I totally agree with that, because even when I watch it now, 20 years on or whatever the hell it is, you just get this feeling in your Tootsie Toes, in your tom-tom. It makes the goosebumps go, it makes the adrenaline go, and usually it makes you go, this is why I love professional wrestling. And it's all about different courses for different horses, which is not the phrase. But Wrestle Kingdom has just finished, and I saw a terrific match between Bryan Danielson and Okada. But if The Rock and Roman Reigns went out there and tried to redo that, one, they wouldn't be able to, because that's not their skill set, but also two, that's not what I want to see. I mean, if we do take this idea of sports entertainment and we give it to WWE, given that they're the ones that came up with it, or that's kind of how sometimes we see their style of wrestling, that's what I expect from these two. You have the guy from the Attitude Era, along with Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, and you have the guy from this era. I don't want them to be doing dragon screws and reversals. I want them to say absolutely ridiculous things to each other, and I just want them to look into the other person's eyes for at least 4 minutes. Then you could do 6 minutes of wrestling, then just go home, 1, 2, 3. So there's no reason, in my opinion anyway, of course you're free to disagree with me, to not put it on WrestleMania. Like, if you want to put it on the Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania, I think you should get exactly the same kind of a match. And if all of a sudden The Rock starts throwing some punches, and I can see he's going and swelling a little bit, I'm not going to go, well, this is absolutely terrible, and you've ruined my day. Probably going to go, listen to the fans, listen to the noise, listen to the charisma they are creating in that ring. This is one of the best things ever, because let's not pretend that wrestling can't be 72,000 things all at once, and we know what these two guys are good at. That's exactly what they should deliver, whether Elimination Chamber, the Royal Rumble, or a random episode of Raw. Now, of course, we're not going to do this on a random episode of Raw, but there is only one format for this match. I suppose it's like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg when they used to clash, which I do believe was basically directed by Paul Heyman. He said, listen, you're two video game characters, store up your meters, just go finish, and then one finish wins. We go 5 minutes, 1, 2, 3. Look at the spear. Oh my God. Which is why their clash at WrestleMania 33, probably the best 5-minute match of all time. Now, again, you'll probably come up with a better one, but when I watch that, it makes me laugh in a good way. And when it is done, I feel like I made a good choice in spending my entertainment dollars in that direction, because I don't want to see Goldberg and Brock Lesnar do anything else. They're two big men slapping man meat. I mean, you could even put The Rock versus Roman Reigns into the man meat category, although there'll be more pomp and circumstance. But the only reason we shouldn't do this at WrestleMania 40 is because we want to finish Cody Rhodes' story. And this is something I should have said on the video the other day. More power to that guy. He has got this idea over with such aplomb that people are now so invested in him winning that World Super Duper Championship at WrestleMania that they're even looking at The Rock one of the biggest superstars ever and a guaranteed Hall of Famer going, yeah, maybe not now, Dwayne. Maybe you come back in a few months when we need you. And that really is a testament to the company too, which is on fire right now. And the other thing that's kind of been pitched is you do The Rock versus Roman Reigns on night 1, then you do Roman Reigns versus Cody on night 2. Or even more crazy, if we do Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble, there was the doo-doo for the comments, have Randy Orton win and then Cody can face him for the championship. Now, I absolutely want that Randy Orton Cody Rhodes program at some point. There is so much legacy already built into it, but you cannot have Roman Reigns lose before he faces The Rock. That's where the hoopla comes from, because while I'd probably put my life on the line that Roman would beat the Great One, if he's already lost and he's already lost his title and one day Dwayne Johnson turns up and goes, nah, I don't want to take the L, you're going to be able to do it. But if Roman still has that belt and he hasn't lost, it just creates a little bit more tension, and also that has to be the story, right? To me, this has to tie in. If you can do Roman Reigns versus The Rock before you do the Cody match round 2, and The Rock also fails, then when the American Nightmare does it, oh my gosh, it's not just going to be times 2, it's going to be times 47.9, and that is going to be absolutely brilliant. I do not think Roman Reigns should be losing before he takes on Cody Rhodes, right? I just don't. And also, if Cody beats Randy Orton for the title, that's not the same. And people have now turned this into, no, Cody just said he wanted to win the World Championship. That's what he said when he first came back to the company, or the night after WrestleMania 38. But now, he basically tied it up with Roman Reigns, which is why when they had that stare down on SmackDown a few months ago, everybody went crazy, like, oh my gosh, they're going to do it, they're going to do it. Which begs the question, did they know about The Rock then? I don't know, because I'm not there. And of course, there's plenty of rumors that the Australian Tourism Board has thrown a ton of money at Mr. Johnson for him to go and do the February pay-per-view premium live event. And that's one of the reasons I hope we do at the Elimination Chamber, because WWE has completely changed their pay-per-view big event business over the last 12 months to the point, yes, you have your big 4, your WrestleMania, your Royal Rumble, your SummerSlam, and your Survivor Series, but all the other ones don't feel crap anymore. And there was a time where they felt completely redundant. So rather than go the other way, why don't we plan to make every single event feel massive? Like, nothing's going to get as big as WrestleMania just because it's WrestleMania. But all the other ones, you could get it close to a SummerSlam, you could get it close to a Survivor Series. It's all about tradition and it's all about history. And when it comes to the Elimination Chamber, we are building off that Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn match, which many people have said is one of their favorite matches of the year, and it turns Sami Zayn into a super duper whooper star. So I would take that template and I would grow and I would build and I would try to evolve it to the point you can have, I can't remember the name of the pay-per-views now, but you can have Backlash and people a week beforehand like, oh my gosh, it's Backlash. Maybe we're going to do, I don't know, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens. And then given that really WWE peaks in April when we have WrestleMania, and sometimes they have a lull in May, April, June, if you can all of a sudden establish all the other shows as major deals, you're not going to do that. And then essentially you can be hot from January to December. And let's not pretend that's not WWE's dream. Of course it is. So I wouldn't all of a sudden invest everything in WrestleMania like we have done over the last 2 decades, maybe 3 decades, maybe 4. I would go, no. Let's go the other way. Let's have these mega matches like we did with Roman Reigns versus John Cena. What the hell was the name of that show? It was like a Payback or something like that, just in like June. It was absolutely crazy. We should do more of that. And that way, when it comes to people's schedules, you don't have to go, oh, well, The Rock can't do it because we have to wait for April to WrestleMania. The Rock can ring you up and go, oh, hi, I'm free in October, so let's bring back Great Balls of Fire and do whatever match that you want. Then you can do it with Austin and you can do it with anybody else. And I think that would just create an amazing fire and not one where it's like, wait, we've got Q1 of the year and we're just going to shoot our load. Shouldn't have said that. I massively regret it. And you can spread it all out. The worst sentence I've ever said. But it really doesn't come down to match quality. Like, match quality in 2024 is definitely better than it ever has been. You can turn on any wrestling show at any time, no matter how long the actual show is, and you will find something, at the very least, is pretty damn amazing. But sometimes I don't just want to see 2 good people having a good scrap. I want everything else. Like I say, I want the pageantry and I want the fireworks and I want the nonsense. And that is what The Rock brings. It's one of the reasons he has been so successful for a long time and why he was able to take those attributes and transfer it across to Hollywood. We all know that Roman is great at that. It comes out, he shouts, acknowledge me, and so on and so forth. So if they did it at WrestleMania, would I be disappointed if Cody doesn't get his due? Of course I would, but it has nothing to do with The Rock's cardiovascular conditioning. And really, we need to stop talking about that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter what somebody looks like. It doesn't matter what someone's shape they're in. Unless they're your friend and they have a health problem, then you should absolutely talk to them in a nice way and be respectful. There is something ridiculous about someone that has never seen a gym in their life looking at Dwayne Johnson going, man, That guy's out of shape. I mean, come on, let's stop being ridiculous. That's not me saying you have to go to the gym, because that's what the comments are like. You're allowed to do whatever the flub you want to do, and you're also allowed to comment on this. Don't turn it into this absolute explosion of The Rock can't main event WrestleMania. He's The Rock. Could turn up wearing, I don't know, his Tooth Fairy outfit, and people would still buy into him as seen by the numbers. Did you see the Raw rating? When people found out that The Rock was on TV, numbers shot through the roof. So he's still a draw. People still love him. And look, he's basically been doing the same shtick for the last 2 decades, and yet he still makes it work. And why is that? Because he has that magic power deep down in his hands. Now, I know this is going to set a lot of people off, but that's what the comments are for. Be honest with me. Tell me, what do you think? Maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm just one man shouting their opinion, and when you are down there, make sure you like the video, share the video, and please do subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, so that video's going live. There's my other Rock video for the week. Give that a click, and then you'll get my entire opinions on the Great One's return. If you're into fitness, make sure you go to GorillaMind.com and use code Simon to get 10% off. It's really, really good stuff. You go to Patreon.com/Simon316 support me there. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. Simon J. Miller on Cameo, Simon Miller on TikTok, or is it Simon J. Miller? Other way around. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo. Merchandise is Pro Wrestling Tees, and Samson Athletics' new Pro Wrestling Tees have just gone up. I believe that's everything, so I'll let you go. Let's just enjoy all of this. Of course it would suck if Cody doesn't get his moment, but in terms of being a fan, we are being served up a gourmet dinner, and damn it, I'm hungry. Wasn't that a Bret Hart line that Jim Neidhart gave him? I believe it was. So accidentally I have tied it all in. Goodbye.